Why isn't it working? Nothing has changed. It worked yesterday, now no response. I restarted the router and the devices. God! Have you reached the point where your smart home just breaks you and you want to rip it all out? No? You will. Trust me, it happens to the best of the smart home folks out there. It will drive you crazy at certain points. But this video is meant to help you avoid some of the smart home mistakes for a little less frustration. I'm not going to say frustration free. The smart home can be very frustrating still, and I'll keep it real with you guys. Mistake number one is horrible Wi-Fi. When you start a smart home, you need to build a strong foundation with good Wi-Fi. You can have all the greatest devices out there, but with crappy Wi-Fi, they are going to frustrate you. Now, if you're rocking that modem / router from the cable company, it may be time to upgrade. And I say that because those don't necessarily offer the best coverage or handle the most amount of devices. When it comes to devices, they can add up quick. In my house, I have 2 daughters and they each have like 4 devices. My wife has like 6 devices. I have at least 10 of them. Then you look at the TVs. There's 5 Apple TVs and a couple of those TVs have Fire TV sticks on them. A few of them are smart TVs. And now we're up to almost 50 devices and we haven't put a smart bulb or a smart speaker in the mix. I have a total of 89 devices on my network, and that's not even counting the stuff that I test and add in temporarily. My current router is a new Wi-Fi 6E model that can support over 200 plus devices. Now that may seem excessive, but everything we buy now is becoming connected. We just bought a new refrigerator that could connect to Google and Alexa. That used to be an extra feature that you had to pay for, not something that's included. Now, I recommend going with a mesh router. If you're not familiar with mesh, a mesh system's made up of either a single router and multiple access points, or can be made up of multiple routers. You place these different routers and access points throughout the house, and it creates a stronger Wi-Fi network that as you move through the house, your device will move over to whatever access point or router is going to give you the quickest speed. Before we continue, please share your smart home mistakes down in the comments section. That way others can learn from you as they get started with their home. Also, I'll put links down in the description of all the things I cover in this video. Now, mistake number 2 is picking the wrong smart devices. I can't blame people for not knowing which devices to necessarily pick or what the state of the smart home is. So this is meant to help catch you up. I think it's kind of a bad time to buy certain smart devices. If you're not familiar with it, there's a new smart home standard called Matter that is going to make it easier for devices to connect to any smart assistant. The idea is you'll be able to walk into a store, see that Matter logo on the box, and know that no matter what smart speaker you have, it's going to work with it and it's going to be easy to set up. The problem is the Matter standard is new and devices are slowly starting to roll out for it. I'm excited for brands like Aqara, SwitchBot, Nanoleaf, and a bunch of others that have already released their Matter upgrade plans, but it's going to be a while before it's a universal standard across all smart devices. Also, at this point in time, not all categories have a Matter certification, such as cameras and vacuums. So if you're looking at buying any of those things, I highly recommend you buy something that works with all the smart assistants. That way you can move between them. Having this channel, I hear from a lot of folks who have devices that may not stay connected. They have compatibility issues with certain smart speakers, maybe limited functionality, or a whole host of other problems out there. Now, for some of these folks with these problems, my professional smart home recommendation after many years of having this channel is stop buying cheap crap. Please, for the love of God, stop buying some of this garbage. There's so much bad smart home stuff. Now, that does not mean overpay and just buy a bunch of expensive stuff. There are great brands like Aqara that makes affordable devices that work with all the smart assistants, even Apple's HomeKit. There are brands like SwitchBot that make unique solutions to automate the things you already have. I mean, I love the idea of some $800 custom blinds. Come in, open by themselves. But more realistically, I could take my $64.99 blinds from Home Depot, get a SwitchBot blind tilt, put it on there, and automate that at a fraction of the cost. Now, this video is not sponsored by any of these companies I'm talking about. They're just things I personally use. Now, remember, this is your house. Don't be afraid to spend a few extra bucks to get something that's better quality, especially if you're going to be interacting with this stuff daily. Lutron light switches are expensive. but they're extremely reliable and work well. There's so many respected smart home content creators out there that swear by these. I'll pay the extra money for that reliability. Now, part of their reliability is the fact that they connect up to a hub. Now, just a side note, don't be anti-hub. Some of the best, most reliable devices out there do require a hub. It's an additional cost, but going Wi-Fi for everything is just opening up issues. It's just get a hub for certain things. Next mistake is buying stuff that limits what smart assistants you can work with. I say buy things that work with Amazon, Google, and Apple. Don't go out there and buy an Amazon smart plug or thermostat, because then you're limited to just them. Get one that works with Google and Apple. Now for me, I don't want to go with devices that only work with Apple's HomeKit. Like for example, the Level Lock. It's cool, but I could get the Schlage Encode Plus that works with all the assistants and gives me the home key feature that I still want. I made a video last year on why I switched over to Apple's HomeKit for my smart home, and it was an easy switch for me because I'd planned ahead to give myself that flexibility. I'm surprised how many people I've heard from that are really getting annoyed with Alexa's suggestions and the new ads that are popping up on Echo shows. A lot of these folks are switching over to Apple's HomeKit or Google devices. The problem is some of their smart home devices can't transition over with them because of what they purchased. Like I mentioned earlier, Matter devices are going to be able to work with all the assistants. Next mistake is picking the wrong ecosystems. Think about the devices and services you use. Think about the other people that you live with. For example, I know for my wife, she's not going to download a third-party to-do list program that will sync up with the Echoes. Instead, we can talk to the HomePods and add stuff to a shared shopping list that's within Apple's native reminders app. By going that route, it keeps it easier for my wife, which makes it easier for me. Now again, think about the devices you already have. If you like your Fire TV and you like your Fire tablet, it wouldn't be so bright to go with a Google Home or Apple Home. Or if you're a diehard Google Android user, why would you buy a HomePod? Other than it's fun to play with. But other than that, just does not make sense. Just don't complicate your world by getting the wrong smart speaker. Now, beyond your smart speaker and Android, Apple, any of that stuff, think about the ecosystem of the smart devices you buy. I really like Eufy. I think they make some great stuff. Their outdoor cameras are nice, but if I went with a car cameras instead, they have a hub built in. I can pair motion, door sensors, they have light switches, they have some remotes, and other options that really just make things work together better. Another example would be from a security side. Don't get a doorbell from one company and cameras from the other. Go with something like Ring so that your camera, doorbell, and even your home's alarm is all integrated together. Especially if you're an Echo person, something like that adds even more value. Next, don't make this smart bulb lighting mistake. You should probably go with smart switches in most cases instead of smart bulbs. Now I know there's folks out there, I myself included when I started, who may have this vision of like you call up something or you push a button or do something, lights dim, kitchen goes dim, changes colors, and you're in movie mode. You set a cool vibe in there. But in reality, after a few months of using it, the shit's in white and at full. That's all it does. Color was a waste. So just go with regular bulbs and switches. Make life easy for everybody. You shouldn't have to talk to your house just to turn the lights on in the morning when you want to go have a cup of coffee. You also don't want your smart lights to become worthless because someone in the house turns off the switch that keeps them powered. So now they're just lights and you have to flip a switch on anyways. My wife would lose her you know what if every single time she had to come into the house she had to ask for the lights to get turned on. It's also nice to not have to give your guests instructions on how to turn on the kitchen lights. Now let's finish this list strong and at the same time anger and offend a few people. No, I'm just kidding. That's not my intent at all. But this next big mistake is buying bad smart lighting. Now, before I continue, just to give you some credentials to support these comments, I spent 25 years in the entertainment lighting industry. Here are some pictures of some of the different shows that I lit as a lighting designer. I've even lit a plane before, so quite a bit of experience with lighting. I lit a plane. That's how badass I am. So when I say certain things like RGB only light strips look like crap when it comes to white light, you can achieve a white light, but it's just not a nice white light. And if you look at the LEDs themselves, like say you put them under your cabinets and you see the reflection, you see all the color, it looks horrible. Instead, buy LED strips that have at least a warm white in them. Ideally warm white and cool white. Something like that is going to look better under your kitchen cabinets, lighting the surface with a nice warm white. Now, speaking of something else that looks like crap that I have to mention as a lighting guy, please stop using cool white bulbs in your house at night. We're really not meant to have cool white light at night. Cool white light comes from the sun during the day. At night, we have warm white from fire, candlelight, or traditional bulbs. Those things affect our circadian rhythms. You know, people try and avoid all the blue light out of their screens, and then they'll have cool white light in their house. Get bulbs and light strips that have a good warm and cool white to them. You can have light that adjusts and complements whatever the time of day is. They don't have to be expensive. My favorite light strips and bulbs for warm and cool white are the Nanoleaf Essentials. I would love to recommend those to you, but again, they've announced that they got new matter ones coming out later in the year. Remember, lighting sets the mood of a room. So go back to mistake number 3 and stop cheaping out. Now you know the mistakes to avoid. Next, you need to watch this video over here so you can see some great smart devices that I'm using. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.